This video is brought to you by AmerUSA.com, where you can screen tenants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this episode, we will be discussing Nevada landlord tenant laws. The following is a summary of landlord tenant laws in the state of Nevada as they apply to residential rental property. Topics include disclosures, withholding rent, the right to enter, security deposits, eviction, increasing rent, and more. Required disclosures. Contact information. A landlord must disclose to the tenant in writing at or before the commencement of the tenancy the name and address of the person authorized to manage the premises, the principal or corporate owner of the premises, and the person authorized to receive service of process and notices. Non-refundable fees. The purpose of all non-refundable fees or deposits must be stated in writing. The lease agreement must explain all fees that are required and the purpose for which they are required. Move-in checklist. A lease must include a signed record of the inventory and condition of the premises under the exclusive custody and control of the tenant. Foreclosure. A landlord must disclose to any prospective tenant in writing whether the premises to be rented is the subject of a foreclosure proceeding. Disclosure need not be in the lease. Nuisance. A lease must include a summary of the provisions of Nevada Statute 202.470, which are penalties for permitting or maintaining a nuisance, as well as information regarding the procedure used to report a nuisance and violations of a building, safety, or health code or regulation. The United States flag. A lease must also include information on a tenant's right to engage in the display of the U.S. flag on the premises. Security deposit limit. Up to the equivalent of 3 months' rent may be charged for the security deposit. The tenant has the option of using a surety bond for all or part of the deposit, as long as the landlord accepts it. Deadline for returning a security deposit. After the tenant moves out, the deposit must be returned within 30 days along with an itemized statement of deductions. Failing to return within 30 days can result in a fine up to the amount of the original deposit. It's important to note, landlords also need to include language in the lease that mentions the conditions under which the security deposit will be returned. Late fees. Unless the lease mentions a late fee, it is presumed not to exist. However, there are other ways of documenting or disclosing the existence of a late fee, as long as the tenant is undeniably made aware of it. Increasing rent. Month-to-month agreements require a written 45-day notice to increase rent. Tenants who are 60 years or older or physically or mentally disabled may request an additional 30 days if they have met the obligations in Nevada Revised Statute, Section 118A. Lease agreements of a longer duration must provide for their own increase. Withholding rent. A tenant may exercise the right to hire a professional to fix a problem and deduct the cost of the repair if the landlord fails to act within 14 days. But before a tenant exercises this right, written notice must first be given to the landlord, allowing 14 days to resolve the problem unless it's an emergency, which may be reasonably sooner. The maximum repair limit is $100 or equal to the monthly rent, whichever is greater. Terminating tenancy and eviction. A 3-day unconditional notice to quit may be used for tenants assigning or subletting in violation of the lease, causing substantial damage to the property, conducting an unlawful business, permitting or creating a nuisance, causing injury and damage to other occupants of the property or adjacent buildings or structures, and for engaging in the possession to sell, manufacture, or distribute illegal drugs. A landlord has the authority to immediately terminate a tenancy for any violation of the lease that can't be cured. For those violations that can be cured, a 3-day conditional notice to cure, allowing for an additional 2 days to quit, must be used before an eviction is filed. The right to enter. A 24-hour advance notice of entry must be given. For more information, additional laws and articles can be found at AmericanLandlord.com.